Okay, good evening. Let me give you an introduction to what this seminar is about. It's about you understanding what are the changes that are taking place in ACCA, okay, for all the papers as much as possible. And also you can ask me questions, an open-ended session. So it's not necessary you have to listen to me only. Anytime I ask you like you got any questions or you feel like you want to clarify, just raise your hand and ask me straight. Okay, don't worry about it. There's no time limit here. I given extra time. We should finish by about 9 the latest. Okay, so ACCA new papers are starting in September 2018. It affects the P level mainly. It does not affect the F level so much. Okay, so let's look at how you become a member. Okay. So to become a member, what's the first thing you do? You have to take your applied knowledge. They changed the name already. One of the things they've done in ACCA is change the name of all the level. Okay, there's rebranding lah. They changed the brand name. So you take applied knowledge, 3 papers. Then you got your applied skills, 6 papers. Then now you have, they call it strategic professional. Okay, that's your 4 papers. So altogether now you're going to take how many papers? 13, before this was 14 papers. So that's one benefit that you get from the whole thing. Then after that, don't forget, you need to have 3 years practical experience, which you can collect from now. It doesn't need to start after you finish your exams. So as long as you are working, you can fill up the PER. Someone who is a qualified accountant, MIA, CIMA, ACCA, who's your supervisor can sign for you. Enough. Your experience is valid. Does that make sense? So you don't need to wait for finish your qualification. You can start collecting the 3 year before. All right. Once you got the 3 years, you apply for your ACCA member. Then you have to start doing CPD. Okay, continuous professional development. And you can also automatically get your MIA member the moment you get your ACCA membership. But you must apply for your ACCA membership first before you apply for your MIA membership. So you must get that one first. Okay. Any question on the pathway here? Any issues on the pathway? All very clear on the pathway? Okay. And you all know how to get all your experience already, right? Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. The applied knowledge has all become CBE, computer-based exam. There is no more paper-based exam anymore. Clear? So that's one of the big change that has taken place in ACCA. Everything is computer-based. But let's say if you take LCCI level 4, you are exempted from all of this. One paper you take, you get exempted from all of this. No need to pay exemption fee also. So that's one of the benefit of the level 4 LCCI. There's a shortcut. You can skip the applied knowledge. Okay. Now, applied skills level, still the same 6 papers. No change. Okay. You have the corporate business law, performance management, tax, financial reporting, audit assurance, financial management. Now, they have moved towards computer-based exam. That means from this sitting onwards, they are requiring students to take the CBE-based exams. Okay, there are a few centers for CBE. Some of the colleges are trying to lock their student down. They said you cannot go out to take the exam. You must only take with them. Okay, that's of course unfair. You are supposed to have freedom to take the exam anywhere you want. All right. So in this case, the paper-based exam, you can just sign up as usual, but this will be phased out. They are slowly phasing out paper-based exam. Very soon, all exam is computer-based. Okay, the trend is supposed to continue to P level, the final level, the professional level, whereby they are also supposed to move towards CBE sooner or later. But for now, it's still paper-based. Okay. Any issues here? Now, when you do these papers, I want you to note something. You might like some paper, correct? You might like some papers. Like tax paper is usually quite easy to score. If you had a bad time in tax here, it's not a good paper to go forward already because you're bad at memorizing things. The tax paper is a format paper. The financial reporting is a format paper. The 2 papers are called format paper. They are solved using formats. Clear? Then you got performance management and financial management are two of the, they got format, but they're not stable format. Depend on the question type format. And the two theory papers are audit and corporate business law, correct? So those are, like you can see, two theory paper, two format paper, and two calculation paper, which is variable calculation. Those are your papers. So you must see where you are strong and weak. For example, if you are good at corporate business law and taxation paper, then you're good at P6. If law was not a problem, you could remember a lot of rules and you could remember the format, then P6 will be actually quite easy for you to handle. All right. If you're good at financial reporting, audit assurance, then your P7 will be okay, easy to do. Performance management, if you're good at it, then your P5 should be okay. Okay, and financial management, if it's strong, then your P4 will be okay. So there is a correlation between the papers. You need to know where your strength and weakness is here. Then only you decide forward. Are you okay? Right. The next one you got is, this is the new strategic professional level. This is where the big change has come out. Okay. The big change is, now you got essential paper, which is strategic business leader, and you got your strategic business reporting on one side. These are called essential, must do. Then your optional, you take 2 out of 4. Okay, your advanced financial management, APM, AT, AAT, AAA. So these are the new names. Last time it was called P4, P5, P6, P7. They threw away all that P label. No more the P label. They just put this label straight. It's like AFM, APM, AT, and you got AAA, AAA. All right. Now, or you got choice. If you don't want to do the optional papers, you feel like, I do these 2 papers, you take the 2 papers, and then you move to the MSc Professional Accounting from University of London. You take 3 modules with them. 3 modules, you will still get your ACCA membership. Okay, and you get your master's. So you get an MSc Professional Accountancy from University of London. Okay, that one is very costly. Each module is £1,300. Okay, so if you take 3 modules, it's £3,900. So it's nearly about £4,000. You must get ready to do that option. And if you fail the paper, the receipt fee is about £600. It's not the same price as the ACCA papers. The ACCA papers are about £150 only. Are you okay on the difference? Can? Now, also don't forget there's an online SBL module. There's a professional ethics module, okay, which now costs £60. In the past, it was free. Okay, you have to do that. Now, they say you have to do that if you're doing SBL. Unless you have done the old ethical module, then you are kind of waived from that approach. So the combined fee for the strategic business leader and online strategic online module will come up to about £250 plus. Clear? Which is the 2 papers. They combine P1 and P3 to make it SBL, correct? Okay. So let me just go through the changes ahead. Now, we're going to see what happened to this paper called SBR, ACCA SBR. That's the new paper, all right? And in case you have to report this paper, strategic business reporting, that's a new paper. Okay, let's look at this paper. There is no more full consolidation. Last time for P2, you have to do a full consol. That means you have to prepare the consolidation of 2 subsidiaries. Now no more. It's already pre-done or pre-set. All you have to do is do correction only. Okay, so the paper is now very close to P7. The last time P7 and P2 had a gap. P2 will do the accounts. The P7, the audit paper, will do the checking of the accounts. Now they made it exactly same. That means if you do the SBR paper, immediately you do the AAA paper, it makes sense very fast. Because here is all the mistake. They'll give you all the mistake, you just have to correct the mistake. Then when you go to AAA, you tell why the mistake come about or which one you think is the mistake. Make sense? So the paper are tying up better. So there's no consolidation. Ethics increased to 20 marks. Last time, only about 6 marks. Okay, 6 become 20 marks already. So you can write more discussion question. You might debate about issues. Okay, no more choices. Last time you have 3 25-mark question. Now you have no choice. Okay, they excluded some part, vertical group. They excluded certain element of the syllabus. Okay, question 1 is now 30 marks. Last time question 1 is 50 marks. Okay, so 30 marks confirm is on console. They will ask you something to do on console issue, group situation. Okay, no more individual company problem in question number 1. They'll probably put all group only. Okay, then question 2 is the 20-mark ethics question. Okay, question 3 is 25 marks. Question 4 is 25. So that's where you get 4 questions. So in terms of the SBR, you got 4 questions you have to do, no choice. Okay. Plus, one of the things they do is they embedded current issue. Last time, current issue we kind of spot the area, and if we are lucky with our spot, then you are happy. If you are unlucky, it's gone. Now, confirm the current issue will be inside the paper. Are you okay now? Okay. I'm going to go through the 2 papers, show you the 2 papers. What's the difference between ACCA SBR and ACCA P2? Because some of you are transiting from the paper. Some of you have never done the P2 paper. How many of you have done the P2 paper? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so some of you are transiting, okay or not? Some of you have done the paper and transiting to the new paper. Some of you may have to repeat the paper in the future if you don't finish your papers in time. Okay or not? We call it burn out. Your paper will get burned out if you don't finish it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this paper first. The difference in the paper, let me just show you the difference in the paper. Okay, the paper that you have is called this is the SBR paper. Okay, this is how the new SBR paper will look like. All right, and if you look at the paper, question 1, you can see it's a group statement of financial position. Okay, they give you already consolidated. Okay, they have consolidated everything. They put all the goodwill, the intangible asset, they put everything, and then they tell you about what happened in the company. You know, they acquired a subsidiary. Directors discovered an error. Can you see now? So it's more like they made a mistake or they forgot to do something, and then you are making it. This is very close to audit. The only difference between audit and this paper is this paper now, they tell you the error, they ask you to correct it. In audit, you guess the error. They could have made this error. They could have made the error. So the answer becomes easier for you to understand. So when you're going to write, when you go to audit paper, it'll actually be easier. So that's the benefit of this paper now. They made it very closely aligned. Okay. So they made a mistake. And then here also, the directors wish to measure and say, but had again omitted. Can see now. So they make mistakes. Okay, then they have disposal, then business segment restructuring, subsequent acquisition or merge. So here, one of the difference is, in the past, the question for P2 is always prepare consolidated financial statement. No need to explain, just do numbers only. The current paper, you can see, is explain to director. So you must do the calculation and then say, this one do like this because of what? So you must write your answer down. So you can see it's explain, discuss, with suitable working, with suitable working. That means calculate, discuss, calculate, explain. Okay, are you clear on the big difference there? This is one of the difference, okay? Marks will be allocated for suitable discussion and the principles involved. So as long as you remember the principle, this should be treated like this. No need to state the accounting standard. Just the principle, you get the marks. Okay, are we clear on that part? Then advice question on a difference. So here's advice, okay, 8 marks. how to treat things differently. What's the issue about treatment? Okay. Then if we go to question number 2. Now, this is the new one. This is a new thing that you will never have seen before in P2. Okay, whereby the whole question is a kind of a combination ethic plus accounting standard. So it is, you need to be ethical to do the accounts properly. If you are unethical, you can always see the accounts differently. Anytime you are, as an accountant, you become unethical, you can see the accounts differently. So what they've done is like, there's a related party. Accountant has discovered, purchased goods from a company. So here, when preparing, the accountant noticed Arkwright had not paid several invoices. So they're giving you a scenario which will be covered in the new strategic business ethical module. All of this is actually going to be embedded in the new online module. Does that make sense? So that's why if you're going to do this, technically you're supposed to do that module properly, learn it properly, then you do the papers. They have anchored the online ethical module, the new one, to support 2 papers. Alright? So same thing here, subsidiary. Then here the question says, discuss ethical and accounting implication above. Professional marks will be awarded in question 2 for application of ethical principles. So they are going to give you 2 marks extra for you to talk about ethical principle. You talk, this is integrity, this is confidentiality, this is objectivity, you get marks. Can you understand this part? This is a much more larger question compared to the previous P2 paper. Okay. Then after that, question 3. The way they set the paper is already changing. It's not like the old P2 paper. Again, this is not like the P2 paper. The question, if you look at it, got theory. You can see now. They ask you, an African wish to understand principle and whether their valuation is acceptable. So you must explain the theory about the standard. Really. They will ask you to explain the standards. And then they'll ask you to advise on the matters using relevant IFRS. So here, African would like explanation on what is meant by market perspective and how to measure this one. They put 2 questions inside. They already embed the question inside the case study. This is not like the old question. The old question doesn't do that. The new P2 questions or new SBR questions are slightly different. They are more switched towards a master's program. They are more switched towards master's program. Okay? So that's one of the parts. Then discuss the impact on the financial statement. The old paper, P2, had no calculation on ratios. There was no mention of ratio analysis at all. The new paper will ask you to discuss impact of any treatment on ratio. So this one tie up with APM. This is where the paper is beginning to, last time the paper note doesn't tie. The paper stand alone, just do, or then after you can forget about it. The current SBR paper tie very well with the new papers. So this one is where APM is being tested. Or if you do policy like this, how your ROCE will be affected, how your EPS will adjust. So you have to explain the impact on what we call advanced performance measure, APMs. Okay, that's one of the things that's new in this paper. All right. Next, the question number 4. Here you can see, discuss, directors are confused about reclassification adjustment. Understand that ISB has issued a pronouncement on the issue. Can you see this one? ISB issued new pronouncement on the issue is basically mean this is a current issue. So the current issue is now plugged into the question already. All right? And you might have discussion on numbers like this and ask you to discuss additional information in financial statements. So the discussions are a bit more broader. They're not so narrow on accounting standard. Okay. Because the paper is called Strategic Business Reporting, meaning you are talking about how to report your business performance. No longer advanced corporate reporting. There's a difference there. So how you strategically report your business performance. Can? Okay. Right. This is the old paper. Okay. I'm going to show you the current paper, the June 2018 paper, March, June. This is what they set for last sitting. Okay. And a lot of students got shocked already because usually they'll have 3 subsidiaries. Usually they have 3 subsidiaries. The examiners were already adjusting the paper towards the new paper. Okay. And you can see it's like note 1, note 2, note 3, note 4, note 5. See the word? Prepare consolidated statement financial position. No need to explain anything, just calculate. So a lot of them felt you can calculate but don't know how to explain. Yeah. So that's why they said they changed the paper to all explain already. Okay. Good for people who are lousy at calculation. Okay. Bad for people who don't know how to explain. So then you got to discuss this IFRS 15, 6 marks. This was the ethics marks, okay? Could impact the future group, consider ethical issues. Usually the ethics is only about 6 marks. It doesn't go up too much, all right? That was the old paper. Then you can see this question, you can see this one. Directors would like advice on measurement. Advice, so it's like 3 situation, you give advice. Then you have another one, 3 situation, you give advice. Are you clear now? And then here is the current issue question. Okay, that's how it is. So that's the big change in the paper. Before I go on, any of you planning to take SBR next semester? September? Anybody planning to take? You are planning to take SBR. Any questions you want to ask before you start? Are you sure what's the difference? Have you done P2 before? Okay. The syllabus is exactly same, minus a few points, but the way of teaching change. Especially when we do question practice. Syllabus-wise is still the same. You still have to learn the accounting standards. How to do investment property, IFRS 5, held for sale. You still go through the same mechanic. Okay? Mechanics are exactly same. The way you do question only change. In fact, I have to sit down and modify all the question out because even I went through all the BPP, Kaplan and all that, they only modified probably 7 questions. They modified 7. Balance all, they kept it the same. They haven't modified yet. Because the way of asking the question now changed already. That's all. Clear? That's the only issue with the paper. Okay. That's about it. But honestly, if you ask me, should be a much more less stressful paper. Okay. Should be a less stressful paper. Okay. Can I move on? Can I? So are we okay with ACCA SBR versus ACCA P2? Very clear, huh? Okay. Now, we look at this paper. Now, those of you who did P1, P3 last sitting and didn't get through, and now moving on to this one, you probably want to know what's going on, yes or not? Okay. The first thing you need to know, of course, ACCA P1, ACCA P3, online ethical module, the change is something like this. You got that two joining up. Literally, I repeat, literally they merged the syllabus. They didn't cut anything. Okay, they didn't cut. I think they cut maybe 10%. 10% short. 90% same. Okay. The online ethical module goes to the online SBR module. So you have to do 2 together, alright? You should do them together. Okay. I know you did the online ethical module before, right? You still have to do this online ethical module. You can try to skip it. You can try to skip it. Okay, won't be so much of a disaster. For the current period, it won't be so much of a disaster. I don't think they will be trying to get you on it. Okay. Now, what's the difference between it? Okay, this is the difference. Last time, the current exam is 4-hour exam versus 6.5 hours. I think that's better, yes or not? Correct? Of course, plus together, what? The paper plus already, what? I have to plus the paper, what? Not divide the paper, yes or not? They plus the two papers, so it's okay, not so bad, yes or not? 4 hours versus 6.5 hours. 1 case versus 8 cases. Okay, what? No, don't worry, it's okay. Either way, you don't understand any case one. Okay, either way, you won't understand. So if you don't understand the one case, no, at least one thing. The way they made it, the one case will look like newspaper. It's like newspaper cutting here. It's like reading a news here, reading a Excel sheet here. So it's a very different paper. It's not the same type of paper. Okay, it's one case. What it means, one case is they give you information about one company. Okay, which is at least less stressful than reading 8 different companies and adjusting your brain 8 times to answer 8 different cases. Are you clear? Follow, don't follow? Because that's the old paper. The old paper had 8 cases each, 4. So I think changing your head so many times, it's easier to just do one question. And they will give you enough information to understand the company. They are not going to just let you drop in, Okay? If you can understand 8 case, 1 case, no problem. Correct? Okay. So it's 100 marks versus 200 marks. Last time you had to get 200 marks. You have to pass, 200 marks here. But now it's gone to 100 marks. So it's less stressful. Plus, last time the professional marks only 8 marks. Now it's 20 marks. 20%. Last time it's only 4%. 5, you can see it's what? 4% only. So from 4% it's gone to 20% of the marks, which kind of means that you understand the professional marks and how to get the professional marks. You can at least gain those marks. They can help you pass. Are you clear? As long as you follow the instruction, you can get the marks. Make sense? Okay. More financial and practical work. Now, the issue here is the paper is, since it's a one single case study, you kind of need a balanced person to teach you, and having like people integrate. Right now, a lot of the colleges are doing this. One guy will teach you accounting, will teach you the F5 and F9 material. One more guy will teach you the SBL, the strategy and all that. And then later when you do case study is what? How many lecturers are going to sit in front of you already? Cannot, right? So that's one of the problems. That's why they said it's better to have a qualified accountant who knows numbers and has practical experience to help handle for you. So because the case study is a single case, there's no more like before where you can box. Understand what I mean? A box or not? It means you can just study this part and go in. The person teach you, you can just handle that one, no problem. But right now, it's a single case study, bit of financial analysis, bit of here, bit of that. You must combine everything and put your answer. Make sense? So you need to have a holistic analysis. It's very practical. That's what I can say. It's very practical. It's not like the old paper. The old paper was quite theoretical. Okay, the old paper is quite theoretical. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just go through the SBL paper to show you how it looks like. Okay, so what I have here, I'm going to go pick up the question and see how to do this paper. Okay. Okay, this is the SBL paper. This is the specimen paper that's available. Okay, and yes, it's 4 hours including reading, planning, and reflective time. Can you understand? They also want you to reflect. That means you actually can finish the paper in 2.5 hours. Can. Yes, no? Depends on how you read the paper, yes or not. If you take your time and read very slow, that's why speed reading comes in. You know how to do speed reading? How? Can do already, right? Speed reading now. After you train, it is possible, yes or not? Actually, it's just you don't do it. Next time you want to read, put chewing gum in your mouth. Sure, you can speed read. You know why, right? Because when you read, you like to say the words. When you say the words, you slow down. Because you can only read as fast as you say the word. Inside your mouth, you're still saying the words, Are you clear on the reading speed? So you can change one, don't worry. And that's one of the things I'll be doing already. I will be forcing you to read faster and faster and faster and faster. And you still have to understand everything. Okay, no, because I just went for training this past few days. I went for NLP training to improve my mind. There, they told me speed reading is very possible. The guy reads about 2,000 words per minute. So I was like, 2,000 words per minute. Then he said his mentor read 4,000 words per minute. I was like, Then he said he go to the Kinokuniya and then sit there and just about 20 minutes can finish one book. It's possible, not impossible. Okay, so I think it's possible to finish in 2.5 hours. That's why you got planning time and reflective time. Okay, now. Okay. Now, if you look at the paper, okay, let's run through this paper to understand how it looks like. Compare it with the P1 and P3 rough lookalike. All right. Okay. This paper, if you look at it, they've already introduced a company. Like, Rail is a public sector company. So, it's government. Public sector company responsible for what? Rail is governed by Supreme Government. They're giving you the corporate governance structure, which is already going to come in. Confirm. The question will give you something to do with corporate governance structure. You will need to know. That means it's like reading annual report. When you read annual report, you're like, the company board of directors, structure, committees, all that. It'll come up. Most likely, it might be integrated report. They might present it the format of integrated report. Number one is the environment and all that. Number two might be the corporate governance. So they might structure in the format of integrated report. Make sense? Okay. So then you got the government, and then, okay, they give you something called exhibit. You can see now. The following exhibits are provided relevant to Rail. Website page. So they give you cut of the website page. Okay. Transport report published by the newspaper. So newspaper report. Passenger survey results and performance analysis spreadsheet. So they're giving you all the materials where KPI coming in already. You have to analyze the KPI. Competitor for 3-year data. Board meeting. So board meeting is very important for you. When you do audit, you do board review. You go through the materials, and then from there you must pick up things. Like, recently you see what's happening in Malaysia. They say that 9 billion, 7 billion, 6 billion, all this. You're like, where was the minutes to approve this project? Nobody approved. There must be some minutes. That's the one they're looking for right now. Evidence, They're looking for the evidence. Mahathir said, wait, we cannot catch yet. Wait until we find all the evidence, then we can come. They are looking for the board minutes. Who approved it? Then they can narrow down the person. Got it? Okay. So, outline person specification and CV. So, again, practical, right? They give you the CV of the people. And then you have to do like HR, evaluate which one is better person for the job. Ticket sales, passenger data. So you can see 2 data is actually financial type data. Does that make sense? 2 data is financial data, the others are not. Then you see the question is very short. So the questions are not so bad already, no. It's very specific question. Okay. You are non-executive member and chairman of nomination committee. So they tell you your position already. You recently appointed chairman of Railco has provided him information on governance, roles and responsibility of NED. P1 question. Okay. You have been asked to prepare a briefing paper. Briefing paper, that's format. Are you clear now? Okay. For Railco board, which explain agency relationship and discuss the rights and responsibility. Now, professional marks will be demonstrated for communication skill. So as long as you do briefing paper, you get the marks. You format it like briefing paper because they are giving you mark for communication. So easy. 2 marks is already, if you know the format, you know how to present, you get the marks. But communication is not just the format. Who are you preparing for? Board. So you must know who's the audience also. Okay. So this is theory. Okay. Assess the role of and value of non-executive director, the board, 6 marks. Professional marks for evaluation skill. See, different skill they will ask you to do. This is the difference in the paper. The old paper don't give you marks. Like, remember 20 marks, professional marks, right? They are going to give you marks. If you demonstrate the skill, they give you the mark. They will see how you write. Okay? If you are writing in the correct way that you show that you are evaluating, Then they'll give you the marks, 2 marks. You evaluate well, they give you 2 marks. Evaluate so-so, 1 mark. Don't evaluate, no marks. But you can still get 6 marks for theory. Okay. Are you clear on that one? So it's assess the role and value of NED on the board as a public sector. So can the NED do their work or not? Okay. Does that make sense? So each question, you are given this indicator of the professional skill. So you must learn the professional skills. Okay. Same thing here. You are assistant auditor. Okay. Prepare report. Demonstrate analysis skill. Here, evaluate the findings. Here they want you to analyze the numbers, see whether you can find something. Pattern, that means look for pattern. So each task is like your boss asking you to do something. Hey, analyze this, give me a report. You prepare the report nicely, format it nicely. It's like a boss talking to you. So this part is the boss giving you site instruction. Are you okay in this part? So this one, if you learn all the professional marks, it's kind of easy. Like professional skill, demonstrate skepticism skill. You know what is skepticism, right? Question, don't trust. Something fishy. Look for the numbers, look for something unusual. Evidence that don't tie. And you bring that out, you get the marks. Okay. Are we okay now? So here are the questions. And I would say the questions are actually short. Does that make sense? They're not long questions. So don't worry about the 5. You have to do the 5 questions, yes or no? Okay? Then only comes all your... Now it looks like a lot, but look at the amount of white space. Seriously, this is just a bunch of names, right? As long as you understand it, it's okay. So it's not really that big, you know. Exhibit 2, this one's newspaper. Of course, you have to read the newspaper. Highlight what's relevant. Then you got Exhibit 3, all the Excel spreadsheet. Then you need to know how they calculate it, what's the numbers and all that, understand it. Okay, no? You don't need to do a calculation. They already did everything. You don't need to do calculation. Maybe you have to calculate a little bit, but very minimum. Are we okay? Then you can look at this one. Board meetings, you know, who's present, apologies, then meeting, other matters, meeting agenda at 4:30. Like a normal board meeting minutes lah. Just read, pick up the points you need to pick up based on the question. So first you have to understand your question first lah. This is where planning is more important now. The planning skill for the paper is much more critical because you got 5 things to do and you got all this data, you have to analyze the data. So you need to park, and then straight away start writing your answer. Okay. So the approach is there must be a plan. You cannot do the question without planning. Make sense? That's the difference. You cannot go direct one, this one. There's no direct already. You have to plan your answer, and that's why 4 hours. Are we okay now? Then you got 2 chief executive, the CVs, this is the CEO, this is the person specification, and then they give you 2 CVs. You have to select the CV based on the experience and the skill of the person who's suitable. Then, this is very painful. You have to sit down and analyze this one. You have to look at all the numbers and you have to understand all the information. So basically, now you have to look at data and understand what they give you. That's it. It's more work-like. When you're at work, you probably have to do this more often. People give you something, you have to make sense of what you see. Okay. Are you clear? That's about the papers. That's the notes. Okay. That was the new SBL paper. Any questions? You may need to calculate some things. Like maybe you see here, you go they've calculated some, you can see now, they've calculated some estimated fraud. You may want to calculate some, maybe average, just to simplify data. Got it? You won't calculate too much. You will calculate, but I don't think the calculation is a lot. Maybe maximum 10 marks, 10 to 15 marks. Don't expect 100 marks or 25 marks for calculation. Probably at max 15 marks. So if the question asks you to maybe analyze the report, then they're looking at ratio analysis or some kind of taking the numbers and making sense of the numbers. Are you okay in this part? So will there be calculation? Yes, you will definitely have to calculate something. But I'm sure you're not going to calculate anything on the CV, right? Maybe the year of experience, nothing much to calculate. Are you clear now? So you'll know where to calculate. For example, you know that you probably have to do some calculation. Here, maybe you want to pick up something, yes or no? Clear? But all done already, percentage satisfied customer, plus, minus, all given already. Might focus more on interpret the numbers rather than calculate. You may need to know how to calculate, but I think it's more on interpretation of number. Does that make sense? Which is a higher level skill compared to the calculation. Basic calculation you should know, but I think they will focus on interpret. So they might give you a variance report. They won't ask you to calculate variance. They might ask you to forecast. That one's possible. They'll give you all the numbers and everything. They're like, can you just prepare a forecast? How much do you estimate? Something like that is very possible. So the style of the question will still have some similarity to P1, P3. Okay, but slightly better than P1. Because P1 is very notorious. The question is very vague. This one is a bit more clearer in what they want you to do. Does that make sense? They throw in the professional marks for it. Okay. Are you clear there? Any questions there? Any more questions on this? Because this is the one that you are worried about. Yes or no? If your bet failed this time, then you're worried about this paper. All of that is inside the syllabus. Absorption costing, time series, everything is expected knowledge. They might give you something like a pricing and then ask you to evaluate. Hey, what's wrong with the pricing? Ask you to evaluate. Then you might say, oh, they've used absorption costing. Maybe they should use ABC. Discuss. Make sense? So whatever you have to know, you still have to know. The knowledge didn't reduce too much. I went through the whole thing. It's like my previous P1, P3, just merge together. Become one whole set. And then maybe add a little bit. Got cloud computing. Got a few extra things they have added in. Cloud computing, all that they have added. Everything is there still. Okay. Clear? Not clear? Okay. About the framework, they said you don't, unlike P1 and P3, P1 and P3, where they ask you to write the theory out. This paper won't ask you to write any theory. You don't ask you to explain the theory out anymore. So the idea of explaining theory died with P3. But you may have to explain the rules. You still need, hey, what's the role of the chairman? You may have to still remember that one. But you won't be asked identify and explain Porter's 5 forces or state the concept of Porter's diamond. No, you won't be asked all of these questions at all anymore. But they'll ask you, evaluate the country's suitability for the business. Assume you know Porter National Diamond. Understand now? But not necessarily you must use Porter National Diamond. You can still answer, oh, the country, this one bad, this one good, this one get, you still can get the marks. Does that make sense? So it's not necessary to use the model, but as long as you know what to talk about, you will get the marks. So it's a bit more flexible compared to P3 paper. Okay, any more questions? So models, yeah, you still have to know. It's more like a background rather than you now write it out full out. P3 paper used to ask specifically, explain the principle of. Did it come out last sitting? Explain the principle of. Got it? No theory, Got it? Well, we'll wait and see. Okay, right. Any questions more? Any more? You need to clarify? You better clarify now. Passing rate? Well, hopefully it'll be about 50%, but it's supposed to go up. Paper is supposed to go up, but first sittings are always a bit hard to predict. Very hard to predict. But the first time they introduced P3 was ridiculously easy. The first time they introduced P3, you know SWOT, right? Yeah, 1 strength, 2 mark. 1 strength, 2 mark. Gearing is good, 2 marks. That was the first time they introduced me to P3. I was like laughing away. My students also like, sir, I just write nonsense, I pass. I was like, yeah. You can. At that time, it was possible. Are you clear now? So I don't know whether, but they're kind of strict on their marking. They're very strict. They have trained, they came and train and tell us how to mark and all that already. They're kind of strict. But from what I see, like even iMark is harder. iMark very harsh. So I might give only 3 marks, but they are giving 4 to 5 marks. So kind of lenient a bit. Okay? So for now, it might be easier to get marks because there's no proper benchmark. Should go up. Pass rate is supposed to push up. They need to go to 70%. Right now it's at 50%. Both paper must move to 70. That's the objective of the change. Okay, supposed to be not harder, supposed to be easier. Supposed to be, because ACCA competing globally. All the other pass rates are 90%. You go to CPA Australia, that's like 80%, 90%, 70%, 60%. ICW 75%, 85%. ACCA 40%, 30%. It's like something wrong with ACCA. Are you clear now? So that might be, but I cannot say for sure. We don't know. That one I cannot give you any answers. I'm just speculating here. Okay, I believe it should be a bit more doable because of the way the paper is structured. It's easy for guess who? Working adult. It's hard for full-time student. Anyone full-time, they may have a hard time to, because they're not working well. This one look like practical work. What? Like work lah, I give you all the paper, you figure out everything yourself. The logic is that when they said they wanted that lah, they want the student to be able to do work. Okay, are you clear on this part? So I think it's a benefit for working adult, which is their target audience. Only in Malaysia got a lot of full-time students. Can? Okay. Right. Compare that with the old paper. If you look at the P1, just kill that one off. If you look at the P1 paper, this is what came out. I don't know which one is your question. Is this your question? Henry William Bank. Is that your question? That was the question you got, is it? Yes, no? Was this the question? Using information case, identify and analyze internal control failure which gave rise to unethical behavior in HW Bank. Quite easy word. Which control fail, right? Hello? Which control fail? Manager not doing his work. Sounds like global bank. Question very similar to global bank. Yes or no? Okay. Explain each of the risk and impact of HW board failing to manage them. Degree of operational, regulatory, reputational risk. So 3 types of risk. Just explain the 3 types of risk: operational, regulatory, reputational risk, and discuss how applying sound corporate governance would help support better internal control and risk management. So how corporate governance would have solved this problem? Sounds like a note there actually, isn't it? Yes, no? Those who did the question. Explain purpose of general meeting. Some straightforward question, what? An advantage of, so they ask you, what's the advantage for this one? Okay. Draft memo to senior managers of the HW, including explanation. Memo only. Hello. This time memo is like, kacang putih. Did you write memo? Memo to, from, date. Then write the nonsense below it. What not? Those who did P1. People like, tick, and then you're like, I don't give me marks. I don't like free marks. Don't give me. I forgot to write memo. People like, memo. Okay, so explain information needed. So I think this was actually quite a doable question actually. This is kind of a nice question. Okay, then was this one of the questions? Cram telecom? Also, okay, fine. Identify most significant risks of cyber attack, classifying and assessing 8 marks. The most significant risk faces from the threat of, so which are the threat where they have problem, okay? classifying them and assessing their potential impact. That means high likelihood, low impact, high impact, that one. It's called a risk map. Tara, recommend appropriate strategy. This one quite straightforward, right? Don't know what to do, is it? Transfer, accept, reduce, avoid. This one can implement internal controls, manage this. This one, avoid, don't do. Don't know how to apply. Explain the importance of risk awareness at all levels and advise how risk awareness could be embedded in corporate culture. Can do or not? Okay. I thought risk embedded was spotted, right? Those of you who went for exam. Okay, now this one I think was the previous sitting. Yes, no? This one was previous sitting, right? I think this was for March 2018, right? Explain nature of professionalism, evaluate ethical threats using the AAA model. Then explain concept. This also is the March paper, correct? See, the paper is very different. You still have to read, but like I said, P1 is not such a heavy reading paper compared to P3. Okay, are you okay with this question? Yes, no. Can, huh? So that's how the P1 paper looked like. Now I look at the P3 paper. We see what question came out. Ancestry ABC. I think this one was the March paper, right? Calculate the performance. Just calculate the performance ratio analysis, yes or not? Okay. Analyze the approach to strategy and the present. So, using what's your strategy? Design, experience, idea. This guy Rupert is which approach? Which guy BV Ventures is which approach? Just have to pick from the case and dump in. Discuss the concept of critical success KPI and the content of ABC. Identify, justify appropriate KCF for new owners, 12 marks. And then discuss meaning of value mission statement. So it's not so bad question. If you now you go back and look at the question, you go like, actually not so bad. Huh? But when you go to exam, everything goes blur. Yes, no? This one I think came out for you, right? This sitting, correct? Talia College. Critically evaluate the cost-benefit analysis of proposed restaurant. I think this is something we were focusing on, right? Okay, your evaluation should include consideration of method of investment appraisal. Criticize the investment appraisal, whether it's explain the purpose of content, the benefits management process. Benefits management process is the benefit realization, benefit map, benefit owner, benefit, all the benefits. Just throw everything inside. Did you throw everything inside? Those of you who went for the exam? No. You didn't go for this exam. Okay, so that's 25 marks. This one, nice. This one was this sitting. Porter 5 force framework. Oh, very straightforward. Assess attractiveness of nice to enter fast food market. I got tell you about this one. You might have to consider whether to enter the market, yes or not. That's exactly the same thing that came out. Okay. Evaluate advantage of acquiring compared to joint venture. This one is very similar to this question. What do you call? What question was that? The machine shop question. Kind of straightforward question. At least you score these two questions, you pass already. Okay, Then you got production of this one. I think last sitting. Previous sitting, right? Okay. So the question is, of course, you would say this looks less tedious, but it's 4 different case studies, right? Okay, now. So you have to read 4 times. That's a different question. So the way of solving the question is different. Okay. That one has more numbers. I'll tell you this one. SBL will throw you more numbers. The way of SBL is they will definitely give you Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Any questions there? Can? Right. So, are we clear on the difference between ACCA, SBL, and P1, P3? Yes, no. So, overall, I think it's easier. I think. My personal opinion. Okay. This is not global opinion. This is my opinion. I think it's easier. It's more relevant. It's also faster. Okay. The questions are faster because you don't need to worry about choice anymore. You know, you're beating your head around like, this one can do, that one also can do, everything also can do. No, which one to do? And sit, think. After a while, 30 minutes finish already. This one is like deciding whether to get married or not, you know. Three guys, which one to choose? So that's the problem. So it might be faster because you don't have choice anymore. Do everything. Okay? Right. I'm going to look at the other papers. Actually, all the other papers, not much change. Okay? All the other papers, not much change. Okay? All other papers, hold on. This one is the wrong one. Let me go on 1 second forward. Let me come to this one first. So, you need to choose your paper. Yes, no? You're selecting at your options, yes or no? Okay. Let me go through one idea first, sequencing. If you're doing ACCA SBL, ACCA SPM would be linked. So is SBR. There'll be a link. Okay? I think APM should be done preferably after these two papers. Don't do before that two papers. Because you need SBL, you also need SBR. Alright? If you're doing ACCA AAA, do it after SBR. ACCA FM can be done after the SBR paper also. It's kind of related. The last one is the ATX. ATX is kind of related to SBR also. So SBR being the anchor paper. Okay. Once you know your accounting, then it's easy for you to move to the ATX and AAA paper. But tax you can do standalone. It doesn't relate to any of the previous paper. Repeat, the tax paper is the only paper you can do standalone. Now, the Malaysian tax has a funny history. The Malaysian tax paper is a funny history. The pass rate was very high in the past, but suddenly dropped already. Okay. Last time we could kind of predict reasonably well what was coming out. Now it's very hard to predict already, but can still predict the area that can come out. Okay, the area that can come out. But what's going to happen in the exam, you don't know. Because I can tell you, for tax paper, this is going to come out. You go in, this will come out. But when you do the question, you'll mess it up. Because the examiner will just change a few things and you might get confused. But overall, in the Malaysian paper, let me just go through one by one now. If you are planning to do treasury, you know it's treasury, right? So if you're planning to work in treasury department, the combination paper you should take is AFM ATX, tax and finance. Okay. If you are planning to do financial planning and analysis, FP and A, that's another department, specialization. Okay. If you're going to do financial planning analysis, you should do APM and AFM. Are you okay in this part? If you're going to do audit, that's pretty clear. Make sure you do AAA. The other paper that goes together with this is usually choice. This is usually choice. Some people prefer the APM, the performance management. Some people prefer the AFM. Nobody takes the ATX actually. But unless you work in the big four, then they might force you to take ATX. Okay, but the best combo is actually audit and the finance paper. They go together quite well. Okay, if you're doing tax specialization, same as treasury. Do the AFM and tax paper. There is something called insolvency. Do APM and AAA. Are you okay in this part? APM has all the failure part. Insolvency, actually you can put AAA, AFM together also. Shouldn't be a problem. Alright? The combination, you all know what is insolvency, right? Anyone planning to become insolvency practitioner? You know what practitioner you're going to become now? Hello? You finish, your ACCA, it's called MBBS. Clear? After that, you're supposed to become a practitioner, you know. Do you know what's your practicing field? Not? General accounting, and then become CFO. Is that the plan? You should know your direction, huh? Okay. Who want to do investment banking? Anybody planning to do it? Make sure you do AFM and anything else. AFM and anything else. Okay. Are you clear on this part? That's your paper choices. By specialization, if you want to specialize, if you know like this is what I want to be. If you have no idea what you want to be, then you will go by the easiest paper route. Easiest paper route, follow your strength. Are you strong in calculation or are you strong in theory? Yes. If you are strong in calculation, make sure you do AFM. If you like calculation, do AFM. Alright? Followed by APM. Followed by ATX. Last paper is audit. Ranking, if you like calculation. Reverse order if you like theory. You don't like both, I don't know what to say. Okay, let me just go through the paper a bit. Let me just talk about each paper. Okay. Computations, this paper, tax paper, computation gets you about 20 marks, 25 marks. You can calculate and get marks. It's not so hard. The calculation in this paper is very standard, very obvious calculation. You just have to memorize a few formats and you can get the marks already. Got it? Okay. In terms of complexity, the paper question is very easy. I repeat that. The paper question is very easy. But the paper's knowledge is very complex. You notice the difference, huh? Paper question, straightforward. Calculate this, compute this, very straightforward one. It's the most easiest paper in the whole of ACCA. Honestly. If you look at the question like, yeah, so little. Right way little can get 2 marks, 4 marks. But the problem with the paper is the knowledge is like a huge ocean. Okay? You must know a lot of things. And the examiner can ask you small corner from the ocean. Alright? And if you don't know that small corner, 0 marks. You misunderstand the requirement, 0 marks. You misunderstand the area, 0 marks. So it's like do or die paper. That's why the paper is dangerous. But like I said, if you don't like technically complex language in the question, this is a good paper. Okay? All you have to do is just be good at memory. And your memory is very good. Your memory is reasonably good. You can remember rules and principles. This is a good paper. Alright. Are we okay in the complexity? The prior knowledge, let's say you don't know anything about tax or so, can still do. Because we have to study from zero still. We still start from zero, we'll start from basic tax a bit. But we won't go through in detail all the basic tax because the basic tax calculation doesn't come out so much in this paper. Does that make sense? You don't have F6. F6 is where you do the personal computation, the corporate tax computation. Here, not much. Here, you take calculation from point of view. Maybe calculate a little bit here, calculate a little bit here. So you're not calculating the whole corporate accounts. Okay. Are you clear in this part? Changes, well, the big changes is basically follows the law. That's the only problem with this paper is as long as IRB comes up with new rules, all the old answer die. Old answer exhaust. So things get outdated very fast. And if let's say you studied one area slightly off, you get the whole thing off. You write the old answer, 0. That's the only danger with the paper. It changes every time a new tax law comes up. Every budget triggers a new law. The trigger point is officially they change December. This paper changes every December. So until September, it's still the old syllabus. But Malaysia, we're just now moving from GST to SST, and we're kind of in between. Okay, so I think next sitting, for a while, GST and SST might disappear, you know. Because we are not yet in SST period. It's kind of in between period, okay now. So they might pull out both and just chunk it one side first. I don't know, I have to wait for the meeting to see whether the examiner says. We'll find out later. Okay. The paper, P6 and ATX, only difference now is compulsory. Everything is compulsory. Last time got choice. Question format, not much change. Okay. Next one, you got AFM. Okay, I'm just going to talk about each paper roughly only. Okay. This paper, prior knowledge, very important. F9. You must know your basic finance. Although we will do everything from zero, but if you didn't like the finance paper, F9 paper, then this paper is not a good paper for you. Okay, so it's kind of related with your prior knowledge. Computation is about 60% of the marks. So if your computation is good, you can be smiling in the exam room. Seriously. Your computation, you know your formats and all that. One of the benefits of this paper is all formula given. You don't need to memorize anything. So let me just show you that one first so that you understand what's the meaning of all formula given. This is the AFM, the new paper. Okay, now. And you can see question 1 is it's kind of a long question, 50 mark. It's going to no change, exactly same as the old paper. They're not changing anything. They just cut short one question. Last time got 3 25 mark question. Now they got 2 25 mark. See, calculate 15 mark. Comment on the correction of the NPV, another 10 marks. Then distinguish between different strategy based on 2 options. Calculate maximum execution. Calculate the percent. See, not a calculate. This is a calculation paper. Okay. One of the benefit, go down here. See, list of formulas. So all you have to do is learn the formula, learn how to use the formula, know when to use the formula. You don't need to memorize the formula. You just like, I use this formula for this. Next, chuck, and apply the formula. Make sense? So that's the benefit of this paper. That the formulas are all given. That's one of the things people got scared with AFM. They thought they have to memorize the formula. If you have to memorize the formula, it's a very hard paper. Sure, commit suicide. Okay, but since the formulas are all given, it's a reasonably easy paper. Your calculator skill is very good, sure pass. But you don't know how to use calculator, sure fail. So you must become very good buddies with your calculator. You must key in the numbers in the correct sequence. Okay. Are we okay on this paper? So my rating for this paper is currently, in last sitting, I think the pass rate, this was the highest paper. Okay, global pass rate, this one scored the highest pass rate. So it is a much more doable paper because it is a calculation paper, and you became an accountant because you like to calculate, yes or no? Not because you like to write stories, yes or no? If you wanted to write stories, you would become a lawyer, correct? Okay, are we okay on this one? But one of the problems students say, complexity. Sometimes you go in, you don't know what they're talking about. Then you die. The whole question is burnt. Okay. But one of my students who got a world prize for this, he said like, I had a paper, it's just a repeat of all the past year papers. Just change a little bit story here and there. So as long as you go through all the past year questions, you're okay. Make sense? So much more doable. Of course, there'll be some traps. APM paper. Okay, let's go through this paper. This paper is getting easier a bit. Yeah, well, you didn't study the area I asked you to spot. That's a problem. I said, study this area, and she's like, no, I don't want to study this. I'll study something else. That's called gatal. People already spot for you one area, you go and spot something else on top. Spot between spot, sure die. Asking for trouble. Okay. So this one, computation, not so much. Okay. You do get marks for computation, but the current paper is they want you to interpret very close to SBR. So the SBL paper, remember all the numbers given to you, right? Same. They give you a lot of numbers. They expect you to interpret. Let me just review the paper a bit so that you can get to see how the paper looks like. Okay. This is the paper, the APM paper. And you look at the question, it's again same, but you know the questions are now getting a bit easier, more straightforward. Assess, respond to CO, evaluate. Okay. Problem is, you see this one? Evaluate the EVA calculation. They didn't ask you to calculate the calculation, no. The calculation might be given in an appendix here. You can see now. See the format very similar to the SBL paper, Appendix 1, Appendix 2, Appendix 3, clear now? So that sense, the paper got already similarity with the SBL paper. Alright? It's kind of similar. Then here, this one, again Appendix 1. Company information, use Porter, you can see now, use Porter 5-force model. Now you know why I say it's very closely related to SBL. Because the model all same. In terms of studying, this paper is the least to stock up. That means the amount of knowledge you have to study is only like, compared to P6, P7, and also P4, this one, the top up is only about 30% from SBL. So you study SBL already, right? Plus 30% you get P5, APM already. That's the benefit lah. It means you don't study so much extra. And that's why so many people fail lah. You know why, right? Because they only have to study 30% extra. A lot of people self-study. Then you know how you all self-study, right? Or last minute, right? That's what happens to most people, you know. Study super last minute, and then they go in like as if they're just walking out of the street and going to the exam hall and like, you know, what's ROCE? ROCE. Must be same as ROCE. Understand that problem that came out? That's where the problem, the failure rate is very low. Okay? Are you okay in this part? The ACCA explained the reason why the failure rate is the lowest is because this paper is the highest paper with the non-studying student. Don't go for courses one. They simply go study for, take luck, try their luck paper. So everybody try their luck on this paper. Okay. Understand the meaning of try your luck, right? Okay, huh? Okay, there's no formulas here, can you see? That's the only thing they're giving you. Okay. That's the difference with AFM. Okay. Are we clear on the difference between AFM and APM? Did you see a lot of numbers to calculate? Looks like a lot of numbers, right? Don't worry, no calculation. They just ask you to comment only. You know? They already give you the numbers, evaluate the results, something like that. So it's not it's very different paper. Huh? It's not really a lot of calculation as per se. The number of calculation can be as low as 15% only. Okay. Can? Any questions on APM? Finance, performance management, F5. Not costing. They don't even touch costing already. This one costing all is like maybe 10 cents, 20 cents out of $1. Okay, so it's not a costing paper. It's a management accounting paper. It's called advanced management accounting. Okay, can? If you don't like F5, this paper becomes a bit more tricky. Okay, that covers the APM paper. Okay. Are we okay with the APM paper? So, is it complex? The only thing complex about the APM paper is the requirement. Repeat, huh? In fact, if you look at the technical articles, this paper has 5 articles just to tell people how to read. The examiner's report, student don't know how to read. Student don't know how to read. Every year, student don't know how to read. Got it? So this is the problem with this paper. Huh? Right. Have I done P4 already? Yes. The next one we're looking at is AAA model. No, not AAA model. This is audit assurance and advanced audit assurance. Okay. Let me give you the AAA model paper. Okay. And what's the difference between this paper? Okay. This is the new paper. The format for this paper will be same for P6. Both papers same format. Okay. This one, the difference is you're always given like practical letter. Okay. And the requirement is evaluate audit risk, explain the method to consider, recommend principal audit procedure, this one. So now this one, if you look at the marks given for this question, how many marks is this? Question 1 will now be 50 marks. Okay. In the past, it was 35 marks. Okay. The question has become a bit more broader with a lot of attachment given here at the financial statement. So you're looking at the whole financial statements already. Okay. So the paper is different. Then you might get a group structure also. So it follows very close to the SBL paper formatting. So they're trying to keep the format same. Once you already got exposed to SBL, then all the other papers might have similarities. So APM, AAA will have similar format. The other papers also most likely, Appendix 1, Appendix 2, Appendix 3 will give you like that. Okay. The other part here, question 2, you're given 25 marks. And question 3, 25 marks. That's it. Format-wise is the same. Mostly, don't worry, this paper is all theory. Theory. But you still can get about 10 marks for calculation. Around 10 marks. Calculate the materiality, calculate the changes you have to make. Maybe you have to talk about adjustments you have to make, calculate the ratio, analytical procedure, maybe calculate gross profit margin, net profit margin. You will get marks there. Any questions on this one? Are we okay? Okay, that ends the session. Okay. Before I close, do you have any questions? Are you all okay? You all know what you're going to do already. See, I told you about it. I'll finish at 9. Can? Okay, I will stop there. And we will now look at your study support. Don't forget, ACCA has got a new website for you already, yes or not? This is the new website, so you probably want to go there. This is the strategic professional level, gives you all of this. Okay. Fully integrating deep, broad technical expertise. So they're going to integrate. It's a very integrated paper. The papers are moving towards integration. Okay. And the website is there. You can always go check the website. They have a big menu here. Then all the papers are there. Are you okay? All right. That's my assessment of the paper. Okay. If you were to type, let's say, difference between ACCA SBR and ACCA P2. You know that's mine, right? I'm surprised I was higher than ACCA. I was like looking for information like, my website. So yeah, the whole world is still checking up what this matters. But you guys got updated first, all right? Okay, any more questions? Can? All the other papers still 3 hours, 15 minutes. Don't worry, they're not going to make you do 4 hours. I think you have a problem holding your bladder for so long. Okay, all right. If you have no questions, good luck on your exams. And those planning to do OBU, I will give a session on June 20th, evening, something like that. June 20th somewhere, all right? It'll be an evening session about maybe 7:30. If you've done the online module, you don't need to do the SBL module. Okay? They won't let you. They'll ask you £60. Money. ACCA, ma. So they will ask you for the money. You have to pay it, okay? Because they kind of designed it so well and all that. So do you need to do it? Well, you really have to look at it. I would say 50-50. First exam might be 50-50, okay? But after that, they would expect you to have used it, okay? I would suspect the questions might be coming from inside there. Some questions might be coming from inside there. Because their training is different. That one has got videos and all that. They make it like virtual reality, like oh, you are an accountant, you are now meeting your boss, then they put a video there, something like this. They've done this for CPA Australia, so they do the same thing. They give you scenario-based learning. Okay, your choice whether you want to. But if you've done the online ethical module, you don't need to pay the £60. Okay, unless you feel like really you want to donate money to ACCA and you feel kind, then go ahead. Okay, but those of you who haven't done it, then too bad lah. You have to do lah, because you need to pay it to pass complete your ACCA. Those who have done it, you have a choice. It's not critical, especially if you finish P1 and P3. It's no longer critical really. Not as critical as if you not yet finish P1 and P3. If P1 and P3 stuck, then you may want to evaluate whether it's needed. Can? Okay, any other questions? Choices, you okay already? You know what paper to take already now? Yes, no? Pretty clear already, right? You pretty clear already? Not clear? Clear, not clear? 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 Well, we're all clear, then I've achieved my objective. Okay, set your goal properly and start the new semester properly. Okay, and the only thing I realized, that day I had a student who called me up, he said, sir, actually the P5, he said, if only I had used all the resources available, I think no problem. Notice the word, if only. If you use all the resources, sure, no problem. So the idea here is you got resources. You must know how to use your resources. You also need to manage your ecology. You know what's your ecology, right? When you're preparing for exam, you must make sure you got boyfriend, girlfriend, family problems, all these issues. You need to know how it's going to impact your life. You need to plan ahead and not be affected when you're doing your course. Are you clear? Because I think that's something you're missing. You don't manage your ecology well before starting your course. Then your ecology affect you. Your boss asks you a lot of things. Your family asks you a lot of things. You know, you then sacrifice here, sacrifice there, sacrifice here. And who you always sacrifice? Your ACCA studies. Correct? So, if you set your goal properly, you said like, look, I need to finish this much work. I need this. These are all the resources. Remember, if you use all the resources, sure, you pass one. It's just that you normally never get to use all the resources because you kind of manage your time badly. Yes or no? Yes, no? Yeah. That's what I've been realizing. And the students who got back to me who said like they've used all the resources, they usually get through. Those who kind of do last minute, you know, because of the ecology affect them too much. Work lah, work pressure lah, delay, work lah. You override your work. You do need to calculate one thing. How much is the value of work attention versus the qualification? Are you clear now? Can? Okay. Set your goal. I think you can achieve better. Are we okay? Okay, good luck. I will stop there.